Namah Shivaya. Durito dalana daksham dakshaja dattadosham kulito kulikalankam kamro kalharkantam parahita karanayo pranavichedo shuktam natanayana nijuktam Neelakantham namamo Natanayana nijuktam Neelakantham namamo. Our salutation to Lord Shiva, Him who destroys sin and removes the dark stain of our age, whose benign eyes watch over all who have surrendered to Him, who joyously sacrifices Himself for the good of others, whose throat is blue from drinking the poison intended for others, Him lustrous as the white water lily, Him I salute again and again. Om, peace, peace, peace. Welcome you all this morning. It is a good chance to see you all. It is opening up, no? In virtual experience is one, and when you see each other, that's a different, no? So we are happy to have it. Now our topic today, as has been announced, is the Ramakrishna, the embodiment of Shiva. Now, this month, because we have the celebration of Shiva's fasting night, Shivaratri, it is called Shiva night, and also in this month we had the birthday celebration of Sri Ramakrishna. So we tried to find out what is the similarities and how we can find the same ideal is repeated again and again and again for the good of humanity, for the welfare of all, for the so-called the amelioration of the sufferings of all. Shiva, the word Shiva is meant auspiciousness. Shiva is all auspicious. What is auspicious? As we know, according to spiritual seekers, auspicious is that which leads us to freedom. Auspicious is that which leads us to joy, blessings and peace, unending peace, unending happiness. Where there is no ignorance, when there is no fear, where there is no loss or fear of suffering, pain, agonies, beyond everything, all auspicious, all peace, that is Shiva. And we are all seeking that Shiva ideal. In Vedantic language we say, what is Shiva ideal? Shiva ideal is Satchidananda, our eternal nature. Is absolute blissfulness, absolute peace, absolute joy. And we are seeking for that joy and trying to find it in diverse directions. But that Shiva nature is the auspicious nature, the pure nature, the stainless, the perfect, the state beyond all fear, all anxieties, all worries, all sufferings. That is the Shiva nature. And Shiva embodies that ideal. Shiva is the God who is worshipped in India. It is one of the, you can say, most worshipped God in India. It predates history. Before historical times, the reference in the Vedas, even in the Vedas, and afterwards it is mentioned that Shiva is as Rudra and other aspects of it. And Shiva is such an ideal, that's why it's a universal ideal. Shiva is the ideal of the total renunciates, all the Himalayan Swamis, sadhus, all the wandering monks you see in India. Shiva is their ideal. Because Shiva is renunciation. Shiva is giving up the mundane and holding on to that which is eternal. So Shiva is worshipped by the all-renouncing monks. Shiva is worshipped by all the household devotees to bring auspiciousness in home. Shiva is an ideal of household life. Why? Every woman, every girl in India, they want to worship Shiva. They want a husband like Shiva. Because he is so dedicated. His love is so intense. Pure love between Shiva and Parvati. So that is the love. That's why it is an emblem or symbol of eternity, symbol of absolute, adorable qualities which everyone wants to imbibe in life. But this ideal comes down through the ages, but Shiva, normally we call Shiva is a mythical god, a god. Others cannot believe, no, there may be a Shiva really holding a trident in hand and dancing like that, or smearing the body with the ashes. It is very unusual imagination. No, for us it is not realistic. It is a myth. And particularly because we cannot see with the eyes, and no one have seen in the physical eyes like this. In the mystic eye they have seen. So that's why it is called myth. But it is myth for ordinary people, but it is truth for the spiritual people. Ramakrishna, have seen Lord Shiva, had the vision of Shiva, and Shiva merged in his body. And many saints and sages, they have experienced the Shiva in a tangible, personified form. Shiva is impersonal because she is snow white. It is beginningless, endless, emblem of Brahman. But when it manifests, that Shiva is as auspiciousness in our society. So, but that normally we think that Shiva is a mythical god. It is in the imagination of some sages, maybe some hallucination also. But Shiva ideal is ideal of all of us. It matters little for the whole humanity. It does not make difference with whether it is India or America or Russia or China, or everyone wants peace, auspiciousness, blessedness, but the condition to go above death, above suffering, above all the dualities of life. So that is the ideal. But that ideal has been very well explained by Swami Vivekananda in the words, very simple words. He said, Shiva, the India twin ideal of Indian spiritual tradition is that two ideal drives India from time immemorial. Renunciation, one, and service. Renunciation, giving up that which is mundane, that which is temporary, and after giving up what remains, it is only God. If we give up our own petty ego, petty selfishness, then what remains? It is all God. Everyone can be viewed as the very auspicious reality. So, renunciation and service is the national ideal of India. It is by Swami Vivekananda says. So this ideal is a theoretical ideal, as it were, For many of our people who are rational minded, we can say it is a mythical concept, Shiva. But is there any practical demonstration of that? Is there a really visible expression of that Shiva ideal? Yes. We can look at the life of Ramakrishna. The same Shiva ideal, how he represents the Shiva. The same auspiciousness, the same state of remaining in the absolute pure state of detachment, love for humanity, infinite suffering to endure for others, to remove others' suffering, to suffer himself. So these are the wonderful ideas we find in the Shiva, and also we find manifested in the human incarnation. We always know human incarnation is what? God descends. Why? In a human form, like Christ and Buddhas. Why they come down? To take an ideal form of purity and love and dedication and sacrifice, and set an example before the world, that the whole world follows that ideal, and everyone can lift their own character into a higher plane. Christ came, Christ ideal has influenced the whole world for 2000 years, and it is still doing. How many mystics are getting the vision, experiences? So similarly, Buddha came. How many people got nirvana, freedom from it? Shankara came, Rama came, Krishna came, Ramakrishna came. In Ramakrishna, the Shiva ideal is explicitly manifested in its highest level. We find that from the Shiva nature, he is born in the Shiva nature. His birth, Shiva, is called the transcendental reality. And he is also worshipped in the Shiva Lingam, is the symbol. That infinite ideal can be worshipped in any symbol. We are all symbol worshippers. We cannot think of infinity till we make a symbol of it and worship that symbol. In every religion, without symbology, there is no spiritual growth. Because we need some example before us. Here we find Sri Ramakrishna with the same ideal. Shiva. Swami Vivekananda talks about Shiva, that it is, I worship Shiva in his Shiva Stotra, he says, in whom the ideas of cause and effects, thoughts and impresses, and countless varied forms become the real one. In this world of multiplicity, there are so much multiple objects, but that Shiva, in the eye of Shiva, in whom all the ideas of creation, causation and effect, the thoughts and impressions, and the countless varied forms of names and forms in the whole universe, they become really one absolute. That is Shiva. I worship that Shiva, in whom when the wind of change is calmed, when the ripples and bubbles of all this creation of diversity is gone, there is neither within nor without. Within and without is in the time. Within and without when I have my ego. And I worship that Shiva who is beyond ego. That's why the wind of change, this whole universe is change. We are sitting here, within these few minutes we have all changed. Physically we have changed. Body has changed. Mind is changed. Everything, this wall has become changed. Why? A few days older. One day it will crumble down after 1,000 years, or it will not remain. The change is the nature of the universe. But Shiva, Swami Vivekananda's idea, the wind of change, there is no change at all. The wind has stopped and it is calm and serene and peaceful. He from whom all darkness is dispersed in Shiva, in the Shiva nature. There is no ignorance. Darkness is ignorance. And darkness creates all confusion. It recreates new thing which is not there. It's called avarana vikshepa in Vedanta. When darkness comes, you superimpose your ideas on something else. You are trampling over a rope and you cry out, it's a snake, 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 because you have the snake idea. You impose. So here, all the darkness is gone. That means eternal light. God is all light, all joy, all bliss. There is no darkness in Shiva all the time. He who destroys sin and removes the dark stains of our age. That is the Shiva nature. It is free from all sin. What is sin? Vedanta says sin is ignorance, not knowing, feeling we are limited, feeling that I am born, I will die, I am limited. That idea is destroyed by the Shiva ideal. And all Shiva destroys all the stains of our age. Shiva, whose benign eyes watch over all who have surrendered to him. No? Whoever looks at him, he is graciously protecting. And who joyously sacrifice himself. Shiva nature will be able to sacrifice himself for the good of others, for the cause of others, for the good of others. Shiva, whose throat is blue from drinking the poison intended for others. That was Swami Vivekananda's idea. More ideas are there, but few ideas. So Shiva idea is that what we get from Swamiji's thoughts, that it is all pure. Shiva is pure like sky, stainless. He is the Lord of all lords. And he who removes all or destroys our all sins and misdeeds. Where ideas of creation and sustenance and development, all this duality ceases. There is no change in this universe, in that Shiva consciousness. There is neither within, neither without in Shiva consciousness. That means everything is one. And everything one and without any duality. And duality creates fear. The Upanishad says, Dvitya dvai bhayang bhavati. We are afraid. When? That is a competitor of me. In business, in your profession, when there is a good competitor, you get frightened. Oh my God, he will take my job. Or he's doing so much, he may encroach my business. No? So, they always fear. But if you are only one, who do you fear? There is in the world, you are the only person. Then there is no question of any fear to anybody. So that is the fearful nature, fearless nature. That is the Shiva nature. So these are the auspicious qualities what Shiva represents. And Shiva is manifested now in the form of Ramakrishna. So we go to that, how this Shiva ideal manifests. You look at the life of Shiva. Shiva lives where? Shiva lives in the cremation ground. Why cremation ground? You know, if we go to any cremation place, what happens? How much we may be worldly, how much we may be absorbed in the fun and joy of life. When we face that position that there is death, someone is dying, someone's body is burning, tremendous renunciation comes, question comes. What? What is going on? He's my friend. He's now going into cremation. I will be like that. That question comes. And that is the place renunciation comes. Question for the higher life comes. Renunciation, as we always refer, please understand, it is not giving, but it is accepting the divine, giving the mundane, which we cannot hold. How much I love anyone, I cannot stop his or her death. I cannot stop. that the body will be turned into a few pounds of ashes. But then, are we only born to die? Or we have to know that we don't die? And that is the purpose. And that questioning comes. And love for that ideal possesses the mind of everyone, whether he is spiritual or non-spiritual person. For a moment, this thought will come. I shall also die. Then death is the end of all? Then will come, no. Then what is that? People go to meditate, then to think of God, pray to God, oh Lord, please give your real idea, real vision in me, no? So that is the ground of renunciation, meaning the ground of all divine love for our real nature, which is God. That is the place. In good place, when everything is going on nice, singing, dancing, partying, at that time where is the need of God? And our mind will not go to God, because we are engaged with other things. But when a fact of reality presents before us, this is this life. And what are you doing here? Will you spend your day like that? You will have to do your livelihood. Go, do that. But question, why are you here? You cannot hold on to these things. It will go out of your grip. How much powerful you may be. You may be put in, but death will come. It will go out of the fingers. You cannot hold that. So the question is very important, and that is the Shiva. That's why Shiva remains mostly in the cremation ground. And it says, and in cremation ground, who will be there? The ghosts and goblins will be with him. Because no gentleman will go to cremation ground normally, unless those who have gone beyond death, their body is done. So Shiva is with that type of companion. Ramakrishna we find, before birth, just after birth we find that Ramakrishna is meditating. Where? He is just a child. Small boy, maybe 5 years, 6 years child, went, there is a cremation ground very close to the Ramakrishna's home. Even if you go now, you will find. And there is a small creek, and then people naturally go there, an isolated place. He will be found going there and simply meditating in God. That's a Shiva nature. He likes that cremation ground. There is another place very close to our Ramakrishna's birthplace, a deep forest-like jungle. And inside there is a cremation ground, isolated place, but very frightening. Even people don't go. But he will be going there. And his elder brother, finding his younger brother Gadadhar is the early name of Ramakrishna. He couldn't find anywhere, searching. And he will cry, Gadai, where are you? And ultimately, a voice comes from the jungle inside, brother, I am here. Don't come here. There are ghosts and goblins, don't come here. But he can stay there, ghost and goblin, because he is in the group of the ghost and goblin. So he is found to meditate. He likes the place in the cremation ground. It is the Shiva nature, renunciation, a total renunciation from the innate tendency from the childhood is to go there. And Ramakrishna's life, you look at the whole life, Ramakrishna is so intoxicated in God. Nothing of the world can go very close to him. He cannot bear the touch of any worldly objects, worldly things. Even coin, if you touch, his body will be just getting little shrunk. And lust and greed goes away. Lust and gold is gone from his mind. In later period you find that Sri Ramakrishna was in Dakshineshwar and his landlord was Mathur, and he loved Ramakrishna And he saw that Ramakrishna is very much intoxicated in God, too much. He cannot keep time for eating, sleeping, doing anything. So thought that how can I pull his mind down? So he asked engaged some prostitutes and pushed Girish. Ramakrishna's chelas are also unique. So he pushed some of the prostitutes in the room of Dakshineshwar or in Jan Bazar, probably in Calcutta, when Ramakrishna was staying few days there. And seeing those ladies, Ramakrishna started crying, Ma, 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 Ma. And he saw the mother there, Divine Mother. And seeing Mother, he went into ecstasy. And these ladies then were in much difficulty what to do with this. And somebody thought he has gone to unconscious. She lost sense, consciousness. They tried to bring some pan and then sprinkling some water and bringing this and that, milk and this and that, like a baby. And then he came back to consciousness after a long time. So he's free from lust and greed. That is called renunciation. Renunciation on this side means attachment to God. That's why you see, as soon as Ramakrishna saw them, he went into deep ecstasy and he was absorbed in such a joy, his body became death-like, like a dead body. And they do not know how to handle it. So what they do? But it took a long time to bring him back to consciousness. But embodiment of tremendous renunciation. And you know the story of the Vivekananda testing him, that whether really he has aversion for coin or gold. So he put one coin under the bed when Ramakrishna went to see the Divine Mother, Kali. And there is nobody. So Naren privately came and put some coin under his bed. And Vivekananda didn't know, and Ramakrishna didn't know anything. So Ramakrishna now came back from Mother's temple and just saying Ma, 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 and just wanted to sit in the bed. And what happened? As soon as he came, he jumped out and became so in pain, he started crying. And then Vivekananda, future Vivekananda, Naren, felt so much sad that I am testing him. This is a man, God-man, where there is nothing. Even the touch of some worldly thing can create such reaction. Renunciation. Therefore we are talking about Shiva, the ideal of renunciation. We do not know, it is a theoretical talk. But you look at Ramakrishna. Shiva ideal of renunciation is perfectly manifested there. We can make Ramakrishna our ideal. Not the Ramakrishna the man, but Ramakrishna the principle, that Shiva ideal, that auspicious ideal of universal ideal, where we can transcend our limitation, we can go beyond the sufferings and pleasures and pains and all the dualities, fear. Sri Ramakrishna is found that this is the renunciation side. Another side, Shiva takes the poison of others, like Christ suffered by vicarious atonement, no? Because he suffered for all of us. That is the idea. Shiva, the idea, there is churning, The gods and demons always fight. Even now, every day, in our internal life, God and demon is fighting. In the society, God and demon is fighting. And there comes some venomous poison. When you churn something, something bad comes out. So, similarly, when gods and demons were all into the fight, and because of the churning, there came nectar also, but there came also poison. Who is to drink the poison? Neither the gods nor the demons. They all approached, "Oh Shiva, what will happen? This poison no one can consume. Please, please, please. And Shiva said, okay. He drank the poison. And he held it in the throat. That's why you find that Shiva with the blue neck, embodiment of drinking the poison, that means the sin, the negativity, the worldliness, consuming and holding it here. Match with Ramakrishna. Ramakrishna is such a person, such a pure person. From the childhood, entirely nothing worldly has entered into his mind. But he suffered out of cancer. What is the cause of cancer? He redeemed the sufferings of Girish Ghosh, whose all the negative actions, all the sinful activities, that result he has withdrawn and he has taken into him. Being taken, and suffering came here. One person was in leukemia, and Sri Ramakrishna, they came and very much surrendered to him and say, oh, this is so much pain, please do something, do something. And Sri Ramakrishna touched them, and they got cured. But the pain came back here. So, not putting your attention to my pain, Ramakrishna suffered taking the pains of others. That is the Shiva nature. We are all Shiva. In us there is a Shiva nature. When you think of me, my, that is Ashiva. It is the opposite of Shiva. When you say thou, you first, that is called Shiva. Swami Vivekananda's definition. Selfishness is death. Unselfishness is God. And this unselfishness, when you love someone, you want that person should be happy. Take away his suffering if you can. Mother loves the baby, and baby in suffering. And if the baby goes to too much suffering, mom feels, had I taken, I could have suffered instead of the baby suffering. It expands our heart. And that is the Shiva nature. Not keeping ourselves only in this little cage of body and mind, expanding that for the good of others, for the benefit of others, for the redemption of others. That is the nature of Shiva. And joyfully accepting this pain. No one is impinging upon them that you have to take it. What we do, we want to take the good side of it. The bad side, someone can take. But the Shiva nature is that, let me give all the bad things to me. Oh, is it Christ, just we have read today, in this morning, come, oh, who are heavily laden, no? If you feel burden of pain and suffering, come, I am here to accept it. That is the Shiva nature. That is the Shiva nature, that is the ideal of all religion. God is waiting with expanding heart. Come, ye come. And then if we come and take refuge, then your burden will be less. You will be floating the river. You will go across the river. You will not drown because there is no load. Load is gone from your head. My example I give, that when you are carrying a load, carrying heavy basket, and your head is bent, I cannot move anymore. If you get a train, then what happens? Enter into the train. And then put the load in the train. Train will carry you and the load. But there we are fools. We are in the train, but we carry our load on the head. We don't think that to offer it to him. Good or bad, whatever, I am yours, O Lord. So, surrender yourself and the load. And that is Shiva, who can take that load. We can give that load, and he is enough to carry that load. That story is there. One mosquito was sitting on the horn of a bull for a long time. And after a long time, when he is flying away, mosquito give thanks to the bull. Bull, I have troubled you for a long time. Please don't mind. Bull said, you bring your whole family and how many mosquitoes are there on my horn and sit there forever. God has the capacity. Shiva has the capacity to hold that. So we find that is the Shiva nature and that is the Ramakrishna nature. Going to Calcutta streets, talking to everyone, redeeming everyone without being asked. There's a Muslim saint, Fakir. He was in the Nakhoda Masjid. There is a mosque, Nakhoda Mosque in Calcutta. Swami Ramakrishna was going on a carriage. And there was one Muslim Fakir. He was Sufi mystic. He was saying, "Oh Lord, oh Pyare, oh my beloved, Aja, Aja, come." And Sri Ramakrishna's carriage was passing by that time. It is a running carriage. He jumped out of the carriage and entered into that devotee who is crying, "Pyare, Aja, oh my beloved, please come." And he went and embraced him, uncalled for. No one has heard the sound. He has heard the cry of that devotee and just embraced him. And he felt overwhelmed. He felt the presence of Allah. So it is Sri Ramakrishna waiting for all to take that poison, take our negativity, only we need to surrender. And that in his life we find enormous examples. And he was born with the Shiva nature, as I said, because you know the story of Ramakrishna before birth. His mother had a vision. He was standing before the Shiva temple, Shiva temple, and there is a linga, there is a symbol. And then from that, she saw that it became all lighted, living, and it became bright. It is not stone. It becomes living, bright. And after that, that light radiated in the inner sanctum and sanctorium of the entire temple. And that light gushed out of the door and just entered into her. And she felt that something, she has conceived a baby. That is the birth of Shiva. That is the birth of Ramakrishna Shiva. Ramakrishna is born. The night the baby was born, so village midwife who came to serve, and she took care of the mother first, Chandra Devi, and then tried to find out that child. But she found the child there are some ashes nearby that place, and the baby slipped into that ash, burnt ashes all over the body and smearing like Lord Shiva. Why Shiva? See, Shiva smears ashes all over. No dress, no other dress. Meaning, he is infinite. What dress will cover him? That's why he is wearing this ashes means there is no taint of the worldliness and it is infinite in dimension. So Shiva, born in the form of Ramakrishna, we find that Ramakrishna is visiting the holy place in Benares called Varanasi. And that he was just in a boat and he suddenly saw that there is a cremation ground. He found that in the cremation ground there is the body is in the pyre, and found that Shiva came. Lord Shiva appeared and whispered a mantra in the ear of the departed. And Divine Mother came and untied the knots and the soul got freedom and liberated. That is the Shiva. And one day he saw that Shiva on the bank of the river Ganga, the same Benares, and he went into ecstasy of having that vision, and then he saw that Shiva entered into him. That is the Shiva nature. Therefore, we have to understand that the ideal is depicted, the highest ideal of renunciation. We can find a little trace of renunciation in ordinary monks, holy people, special people. But this type of intense renunciation, intense love for God, intensely establishing oneself in absolute joy, where no suffering, no touch of any worldly thing can enter, that is rare, and that can be found in the Ramakrishna life. Sri Ramakrishna, you find that it's called Ashutosha. Shiva is called Ashutosha. Ashu means quick. Tosha means satisfaction. You can please Shiva very quickly. That means with devoted heart, if you just simply offer your heart and soul, and Shiva comes, appears before you. Ramakrishna said, same. If anyone thinks of me, not the me, don't think about the person, but the principle which you are talking. You may like the form, that's okay. You may not like the form, but take the principle which Ramakrishna stands for, the Shiva, which ideal he stands for. If it is done, then he said, I move 10 steps. You come 1 step. Ramakrishna said, I move 10 steps towards you. Out of love, out of compassion. So that is the Shiva nature. Very quickly pleased to help us, just to redeem us. He moves ahead and comes in our life. That's why you can see, most of us, how we came in the touch of Ramakrishna. This universal personality, which is the embodiment of all spiritual ideal, no sectarianism, no sectarianism, no bigotry, only pure love for God. He said, you come into the world, in the forest, go to the mango grove, don't go on discussing where the mango came from, which place it was planted, which year it was done, and how many branches, how many plants, how many trees, no? Just pluck the mango and start eating. Enjoy spiritual life as keeping these values in life and imitating those values. So Sri Ramakrishna is found in this way. All the highest ideals which you find in the Shiva ideal, renunciation, detachment, love for humanity, love for God, service to others, dedication to others, the ideal of self-sacrifice, not looking at yourself at all. Ramakrishna, his last moment before he's leaving the body, he's telling his other brothers, he's saying that, the other young boys who have dedicated their life for God realization, he says, he has become emaciated by that time in the bed because of cancer and so much suffering. Then he said, if I can give up this body, but your love has kept me bound here. He's bound by love. He loves us so much, he cannot, he's suffering, but she cannot get out of the body. They are free to go. The Shiva nature is there and he's totally detached, but he's caught into the trap of love for humanity. That's why God comes again and again. They don't get much. They get crucifixion from us. They get abuse from us. Whenever God came into the world, look at their life, how much they suffer. But they come again and again. He comes again and again because he loves the humanity. He loves us to raise ourselves into that Shiva nature, to the Shiva consciousness. Thank you all. But I will be happy if you have any question for 2 minutes, then it will be good.
I don't know much about Shiva, but I know there's a statue, a symbol, a famous symbol of the dancing god with many arms and a circle. This is Shiva? This is the symbol?
Shiva, yeah. Shiva is simply, as I said, a symbol. And Shiva symbol is in the linga form. The linga form is in a stone you find that some people say it's a phallic symbol. That's a wrong interpretation. It is the symbol of creation, the absolute becoming manifest in the world. That's called Shiva Shakti. How to demonstrate that? People think that it's a phallic worship, but surprisingly you go to India, everyone is sitting before the symbol and praising, "Oh Lord Shiva, help me, redeem my suffering, take away." No one thinking in that lower level of sensuality. But it is the cosmic creation, the ideal symbol from which this whole cosmos, stars, galaxies, in this dancing of Shiva, another posture, where Shiva dancing. And there in the dancing, all the constellations and stars and galaxies are coming and going and rewarding like that. That is the meaning of that Shiva. Shiva is worshipped in dancing form. Shiva may be worshipped in also another form. They're called the Jyotirlinga. Linga, that is also symbol, that is the shaft of light. Infinite light, and that is eternal light. People worship in that way. And Shiva is mostly it is in the symbol of the stone image. Sometimes meditative Shiva you can find. Sometimes Shiva is worshipped as Rudra. In the ancient Vedic time, they used to worship Shiva. He who makes us cry. Cry means to wipe out our karma. We go through suffering. Otherwise, without suffering, no one wakes up. Waking call comes when? Not on happy days. Waking call comes on it. So it is, who will do that bad job? So it is Shiva, takes out of love. He gives little to take him in the bosom. So that is the Shiva. Yes. Yes. Somebody there. Keep it close.
Whenever we saw the Lord Shiva statue, Lord Shiva always in meditation mode. Always in meditation mode.
Meditation mode.
Always eyes closed and always sitting. And he wears a very dangerous outfit so that no one can come with, and no one disturb their meditation. And so in Ramayana they written that Lord Shiva praying for Rama, Lord Rama. So is that true?
Yes, sir. Shiva is always meditative. Why not? He wants to be absorbed in his own self. No? The absolute peace. And then we think of him, then we become peaceful. If he is disturbed, whom will you love to think about? Who is angry guy, disturbed and destroying things? That if I think I'll get his nature, bad nature. And Shiva is always absorbed in samadhi. Ramakrishna in samadhi. Most of the time you see, with little talk here and there going to samadhi. Because that is the state of our perfect being. And that's why it is indicating that you have a Shiva nature in you. You be Shiva. Following that. And other things to distract, which are obstacle to meditation, to drive away. That's why it is fearful things are around. He has a trident in the hand. Trident can mean so many ways. Trident gives the symbol of Sattvika quality, Rajas quality, Tamas quality, and he has his control over it. That is, he has the control over the three gunas. That is the master of the gunas. So there are so many explanations like that. Okay. Another Shiva ideal you can find. There is somebody. Shiva ideal is there. Shiva lies flat in the ground and Mother Kali is standing on it. No? That is another way of Shiva worship you find. That lying flat in the ground, but his eyes is all in samadhi mood, matted lock, and he is not careful about it. But everything is snow white. Why? Snow white gives us the impression it is all pure. Shiva is all pure, all pristine, pure, and absolutely stainless. That is Shiva nature. And the creation is the mother, the divine mother, which comes out of the Shiva. And it is all Shiva. That's why it is called, if we see through the eyes down at the feet of mother, then you see it is all Shiva. And if you go from there to up, you see the whole universe. That means you are a little away from Shiva nature. Then you see the all diverse world of suffering, pain and other things. But if you go to look down in the heart, then you see that Shiva is here in us. Okay.
Thank you so much, Swamiji. I think you just answered my question because I read a story.
Little loud.
I read a story about Ramakrishna Ji, that when he was in a temple, he was feeding a Devi Ma. So he was considered to be a very big devotee of Devi, of Shakti. And I think when the trustees saw that, on one side he's feeding Devi, and then on the other side, you probably read the story.
Right.
So
Okay.
we needed to expand on a little bit how Shiva nature and the Shakti is relational.
Yeah, there is a that was that to give an idea that what is Ramakrishna. That's also a good. I was thinking of referring to that story. The landlord is Mathur. He's the landlord of Dakshineshwar where Ramakrishna is staying. And he has an office building there. He goes occasionally into that office and sits there and does some official business. So one day he was in his office sitting, and as he was sitting, he could see there is a long stretch of veranda. And Ramakrishna is suddenly from his room, he came out and he was walking this side and that side, going back and forth. And suddenly he found that when Ramakrishna is walking this side, it is Shiva, living Shiva, not Ramakrishna, with the trident in the hand and this and that. And with the eyes open, he is looking and seeing that. And when turning this way and going that side, it is Mother Kali. One side Shiva, another side Kali. Once he saw that mystic vision, then he was rubbing his eyes. Am I seeing some hallucination or what is happening? How suddenly this experience is coming. Second time, third time when he saw, then he went and fell down at his feet. He said, "Please tell me, who are you?" And Ramakrishna, as usual, with his humility, he says, "I am nobody, Baba. Why are you troubling me? You have seen something, you know." That means it is proving that Shiva Shakti are not two aspects. It is the Shiva is the, when it is unconditional state of just purity and perfection, and when from that the creation side comes, then the Shakti, that the power becomes manifested as Mother. And Mother is the source of creation. That's why Shiva and Shakti. Without Shiva, Shakti cannot work. The Shakti is the power in you, power of thinking, power of talking, power of breathing, power of acting. Where does all power comes? The all source goes to Shakti. That's why you call it everything is Mother. That source. And that Shakti comes from where? It is embedded in the Shiva nature. It is said like the fire and burning nature. The burning nature is embedded. Wherever there is a fire, you touch it, fire is a form. But embedded nature is the heat. Heat is here. I cannot see the heat. But in the fire, you can find the flame, at the same time the heat. So this world is considered to be the mother's play, mother's expression. But that mother's expression comes out of the Shiva nature, which is the perfect, absolute Satchidananda nature. So it calls Shiva, Shakti, they are the one and the same. Thank you. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Tat Sat Sri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu Sa Om Sarvadharma Gamma Mula Satta Tatta Deshakam Siddha Sarva Sampradaya Varjitam Sarva Shastra Marmadarsi Sarva Vinniraksharam Tang Namami Deva Deva Ramakrishna Misharam Tang Namami Deva Deva Ramakrishna Misharam. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. To him, the God of gods, Bhagavan Ramakrishna, who inculcates the one truth that is revealed in all faiths and traditions, who realized the truth in all creeds and still had no creed of his own, no sect, who saw into the heart of all scriptures and yet was himself unlettered, the omniscient. I bow down in deep reverence to Ramakrishna. Om Shanti.